Where's your phone so we know when we're... Oh. Hey, y'all. How you doing?
Hey.
Welcome to the Oddcast podcast.
Off the record.
I'm Blackie.
I'm Erica.
Thank you for joining us again. If it's your first time here, thanks for being here. You can do us a favor. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share with your greatest friends. We'd appreciate it. The more thumbs up we get, the more it sends the algorithm and people find out about us and maybe learn a thing or two. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
This cold weather sucks. I'll just say, why are we frozen?
Oh, there's a delay.
We are frozen. Okay.
Interesting.
Can anybody see us? Why are we not on screen?
That is interesting.
Okay, here we are. Hopefully this works. Can you all hear us? I don't know what is going on with this wackadoo computer, but that picture is horrible.
Oh, we look fuzzy and like it's out of, like the battery's dying or something. It looks really weird.
Okay, so Virac says yes. Okay, we're going to try one thing real quick, see if this works, and then hang with us, please. Camera's not working. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, we're looking. Wow, this is professional. Okay, here we are. We're back. Thank you.
That was interesting.
Sorry, we've had some kind of issues go on here.
Thanks for hanging on, guys.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And okay, once again, who's here tonight joining us that's so patient to wait and chat?
Well, so far we've had Bobby, Gary, Denise, Judy, Stacy, Tammy, Carl, Patrick, Sandra, Richard, Brian, there's brother Billy, and daddy.
Jeffrey, Mr. Yarrington.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Carmen.
Yeah, right. One side is beautiful. I got it, Patrick. I get it. Probably my ears, right? Yeah, well, you've noticed I put the ear on the bed. Never mind. Okay.
Oh.
Well, I wanted to mention a few things before we get started on this show. A lot of things have gone on this past week all over the world. We've had the Brown University shooting where 2 were shot or 2 were killed, 9 are injured. They say they have a suspect in custody, but you don't know if that's, the person that actually did the shooting or what. Also, the Bondi Beach in Australia today, I believe 12. Where's my notes? 12 were killed. 12 killed and dozens injured. One of the killers was put down. The other one was shot, but he's in critical condition right now. And as far as I'm concerned, they can put a bullet through his head too. I won't go into exactly, what it's all about. That's something you guys can look up for yourself. But also, we had an acid attack in Savannah, Georgia, where somebody threw acid on a woman's face, burn her body. She's currently in the hospital. And a failed terrorist attack in Germany this weekend. They were planning on driving through a Christmas market and killing as many people as they could, but the German police took care of that, which is kudos to them. Okay. So, as I always say, keep your head up, stay frosty, pay attention to your surroundings. This is the holiday season, and a lot of things could be going on that we don't want them to see, or they don't want us to see, or, attacks on us. Anyway, so today's topic was something that I've always been interested in. I've known a little bit about. I learned a lot more yesterday, the time studying this, and that's about the global elite. What really runs this world? What runs our country? What runs every country? Because we see a lot of the same things happening in each country. I'll bring up with the shooting at Bondi. I'll bring up, Australia doesn't have guns, and we know that parts of our government are trying for us to get rid of weapons as well. And an incident like what happened in Australia could have been avoided if the people were allowed to own firearms. They weren't. So it took, I believe it was 20 minutes worth of shooting before somebody, the police finally took care of it. And I saw that there was a hero that tackled one of the bad guys and didn't shoot him. Maybe he was out of ammo or whatever, but it's taken care of now. Anyway, when we talk about the global elite, we're not talking about like the bald guy with the handlebar mustache and the scar over his eye that, Dr. Evil type people. We're talking corporations. We're talking rich people. We're world's elite people. And I'm talking like millionaires, trillionaires, billionaires, all of those. These are the people that get together at different locations, different times of the year, and they create policy. They create ideas on how to make society better, if that's the way you want to look at it.
In their eyes.
In their eyes, right. And their power isn't usually exercised through force. It's exercised through policy, money, media awareness. We see that a lot. Technology, lobbying, and access. Things that are made in the, decisions that are made in the boardrooms that, they think might be better for us as a people, which it's not really better for us. I mean, we see good and bad come from this. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the organizations, some of the politicians we know that are involved in all of this. And overall, you're going to kind of get an understanding of what goes on that's shaping the way the world is right now, which is a mess. So let's get involved. What do you say? Okay. Oh, by the way, Wendell, if you're in chat, I have your shirt on. This is Wendell Bigfoot 911. So if you ever get a chance to check it out, hop on there and check it out. Okay, so we're going to talk about first is something we've all heard about, and that is the World Economic Forum. It was created by, I believe, a gentleman by the name of Klaus Schwab. He is no longer the CEO of it. The actual CEO is a gentleman by the name of Borge Brende. I'm going to say that's how it's pronounced. But there are a lot of organizations and a lot of business leaders, media, world leaders, professors all over the world that are involved in the World Economic Forum. And we know that the World Economic Forum doesn't really create laws. They create ideas, and then those ideas get pushed into law. So what happens is, like, say, Chrystia Freeland, who is, if my friends that are Canadian in here, she was like the next underneath Justin Trudeau when he was leader in Canada. And she is a big member of the, oh, sorry about that, big member of the WEF. And to me, she was a kookball. And I know Virax is in here. He probably knows who she is. But anyway, what the World Economic Forum is pushing, things that they're aiming for are like the transition to renewable energy. So all the green stuff, they really want that. In my opinion, they want the green stuff because they have the ability to create more companies and make more money. You can't be rich enough, can you? Digital ID systems. We see that with England possibly doing it. Talk is, other nations, Australia, European nations. They're trying it, possibly do it here. And that's one of the things they're working on. And we don't want that. We'll get into that. But also AI integration into government and businesses. We talked about AI involvement in business, and there's going to be a lot of people over the next few years, they're going to lose their jobs over AI and robotics, and because the AI will control the robots. Climate and technology. We've talked about this as well, type of climates we're having. They talk about climate change. We've all discussed what we think. Again, we have put a disclaimer at the beginning of this. These are our opinions, what we think they're doing to the climate to try to, again, scare us and get more money from us. But anyway, the WEF is mostly an influencer group. They don't pass laws. In fact, I'm out of camera. Let me get over here next to you. Hey, they don't pass laws, but they shape what CEOs and politicians talk about. And basically why it matters is they set the tone for what governments and corporations prioritize. Now with that, I'm going to let one of the corporations that's big into this is BlackRock. And as you know, if you know, BlackRock is doing a lot of the land grabs now. They actually go in and they are, well, go ahead. You talk about BlackRock and then we'll kind of go from there.
Well, real quick, going back to World Economic Forum, it is a mix of prime ministers and presidents from various countries. And there's not a published list of the members of WEF. So just to make note of that. BlackRock, it seems that, a lot of people will say that they own the world, really. But they're the largest asset manager in the world, and they manage money on behalf of others. So just to set that straight. But their total assets as of this year include a range of $12.5 to $13 trillion. And it will sound very familiar, and you'll kind of get a grasp of their role when I read the list, a list of companies that they manage. So, but they are in charge of investment funds and let's see, the electronic funds. Hold on just a second. Infrastructure and subsidiaries, they are involved in a lot of the infrastructure projects around the world. The companies that are in charge of these, airports, ports, energy, and power grids. Okay, so for one, that already tells you that's a lot of money and control right there. But Larry Fink and Robert Capito are the gentlemen who run BlackRock, and then a committee of individuals.
Now, I don't know if you've heard, but our government likes to deal with Larry Fink, and a lot of people in government are friends of Larry Fink. So just remember that when a lot of things that she's talking about, you hear and kind of involved.
The majority of their shareholders, the bigger names, are the Vanguard Group, State Street Corporation, Bank of America, and there are some individual shareholders, but we won't go over them. So real quick, we'll go over the name of the top 25 entity holdings within BlackRock. Okay, in the IT group, we have Apple. Their shares are $170 billion. So that's number one on the list. Number two is Microsoft at 155 billion. Nvidia and Broadcom are others.
And you've heard a lot about Nvidia lately. Yeah.
And healthcare category, we have United Health Group, Johnson and Johnson. Those are in the mid or low to mid 30 billion.
Say 30,000 is not much.
Lilly Company, Merck, AbbVie. Consumer, we have Amazon, Tesla, Home Depot. Communications, we have Google as Class A and the Class C Google, Meta. In finance, we have Berkshire Hathaway, Visa, JP Morgan, and MasterCard. Don't these all sound so familiar? More consumer categories, we have Procter & Gamble, Pepsi, and Coca-Cola. We have energy category of ExxonMobil and Chevron. And then we have the electronic shares that they represent. Worth noting also, those were the top 25 companies. But if this puts it into better perspective, I believe it does. They also represent Time Warner Cable, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Charter Communications. What does that all tell you there? They've got their hands in that, in those very important companies, very influential companies. Also, Verizon, Metro Communications, Netflix, Facebook, PayPal, Dow Company, DuPont, Moderna, and Pfizer.
So there's a lot of big name companies in there for sure. Now, one of the things also with BlackRock as an investment company, they go in and they're investing in land. They are investing in neighborhoods. A lot of these new contracts for neighborhoods are bought by BlackRock. They fund them, and then your house is basically owned by BlackRock, so they can do with it anytime they want to get rid of you. They can just say, we need this land for something. It's scary to think about that all this is just one group right here.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to
BlackRock
talk about a
only.
few more here too, but one group that literally has their fingers in every other group, almost every other group. And it's scary to think about how much control that is. Are you done with the BlackRock?
I'm done with BlackRock.
Okay, next up we have one, the United Nations. Now, a lot of people think the United Nations is a good organization, and it probably at times has done some good things. I'm not going to knock it. I don't know enough about the United Nations. All I've ever seen, though, is the things they do when they go into poor countries. The blue helmets. That's what I've always called them. And if somebody said, if you ever see the blue helmets in your country, you need to beware because something is afoot in your country. But the United Nations, there are 193 member nations in the United Nations and 195 nations in the world. The only two that aren't a part of the United Nations, I'd let you guys guess, but it's almost impossible. I would never guessed it, are the Vatican City and Palestine. So and if you know what's going on with the Israeli thing, BlackRock has already got their nose in rebuilding Palestine. I don't know if it's for Israel or for who, maybe the US, I don't know. But they're looking, so that's a land grab there. And they're all involved in the Ukraine conflict as far as contract to rebuild Ukraine. But the UN is pushing for global climate targets, net zero goals, sustainable agriculture. Yeah, we know what that is. Population stabilization, population control, international migration coordination, and global health standards. They do that through the World Health Organization. And we know about the World Health Organization because we've had to deal with that with the C-19 jabs and how we were locked down and how it was the best thing to happen. And, to us, well, you need to lock down, but we've learned a lot since that time. And what I'll say is they can't force you to comply with anything. The UN can't force you to do anything. They can put boots on the ground and maybe enforce you that way, but they don't want you to know about that. But they set frameworks and influence policy worldwide. Why it matters: UN goals become national priorities of dozens of countries. Now, those countries are usually poorer countries because they have control over those people. They can go in and in my opinion, pay off the leaders of the country and then come in and do whatever they want, whether it be, we won't go into that. I shouldn't go into that part. So other things we'll talk about are the banking industries, central banks and financial institutions. And the one big thing that they're trying to do right now is the CBDC, central banking digital currency. Basically, that's where all of our currency, we operate nothing. We have no paper cash. Everything is done digitally.
They say that it's modernizing payments and reducing fraud.
And you and I know that that is basically, they've already talked about it, monitoring everything you buy, you sell. A lot of people that I heard it from were in the gun industry, and they would know everything that you bought, firearms wise, ammo wise, anything tactical wise, they would know. But also, if you are an opinion piece on the internet, such as us, we're not big enough to probably be looked at. But if you are somebody that has a big platform, they could easily take all your money away from you because you can't stick the cash in the closet and save it, because that cash will be worthless. It'll be digital currency. So they can shut everything down. They'll be able to control what you spend your money on. And between you and me, don't want that to happen. Oh, here, let me give this to Erica because she can, since I'm chatting.
That would also tie in with the social credit score, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They create stricter crypto regulations. And since a lot of people are pushing crypto, I don't know anything about crypto. There might be some people in chat that might know about crypto. Some might even invest in crypto. I hear it's a good, bad. I mean, it's kind of like anything else. You can make a lot of money and you can lose a lot of money. Gold's the way to go, gold and silver. But these banks all work together. And what I mean, I didn't explain who, but people like the Federal Reserve, who just cut, the interest rates again, and I feel the more they cut, the more our people are going to spend money and get out and do things, which will help the economy. The US dollar isn't worth a whole lot right now, so they need to do whatever they can to help it out before CBDCs come into effect. So yeah, that's how that works. In reality, financial institutions absolutely coordinate to stabilize economies, but not in a secret world government way. Okay, whatever. And why it matters: money rules everything. Whoever shapes currency shapes society. And with CBDCs, I think that would be a good way to separate the rich from the poor, meaning that there'd be the rich and then the poor. And, it's sad, but a lot of people are up for it. Not even rich people that, it sounds good to me. I won't have to worry about.
I don't have to carry a card with me.
Exactly. And, look how excited people got when they could scan their wrist, to buy things. I don't know why you would. That's the mark of the beast. Why would you want something like that to work? I mean, anyway, I understand we need to move into the future. Now, this one's one that we've discussed on a show with the AI. It's big tech, Google, Meta, Apple, Microsoft, OpenAI, etc. What they push for is AI integration into daily life. Now, we see it here on the internet. We see people posting videos of them, their face, but it's somebody else's body, and they're dancing or bringing back some dead animal to life, or just silly things on the screen. We're seeing that here. But imagine if it's in your daily life with everything you do. Are you going to be able to tell if they're real people? Are you going to be able to tell if the news is real and what's not real? That's what should be scary to everybody. Mm-hmm. AI, look, they just passed or signed the Genesis mission into effect. That's our government did. And that is to basically study and implement this type of this type of thing. Genesis being like beginning the Bible, the beginning. 5G towers in place. You're gonna click on some of that there, but that kind of stuff is what we need to worry about. They're basically wanting to not infiltrate, but install all of this AI into our lives so they can watch everything we do, know everything about all of us. There is no living off the grid at that point because you can't own anything. You wouldn't be able to own anything that they could pick up on. Your cash would be worthless if they go to CBDC. So you living off the grid, you can't go to town to buy groceries. You strictly have to hunt and take care of your family that way. It sounds fine and dandy, but you'd probably also be hunted, to be honest with you. I'd hate to say that. But anyway, digital assistants replacing human labor. We're starting to see that now. Amazon's going to get hit hard with it. Anybody that's pulling packages at Amazon is probably over the next 2 years going to lose their job to AI, robots. Right there. Yeah, exactly, Jeff. It's getting out of control. They think it's a good thing. And yeah, maybe we need to head it. Maybe I'm just negative about it. Maybe it'll all be awesome and everything will work great and everybody will be a perfect programmer but that's not how the world works. Control over information flows, the algorithm. They'll be able to control who can be seen and who can't be seen. So if you have a big podcast and you piss somebody off, they can, shut you down. We don't like you talking about South Park, just something like that. And they can shut you down. They're also pushing the expansion of smart devices and personal data collection. Why would they want to, push for personal data collection? Well, like we said, they want to know everything you do just because they have control over you. They want control over us. The reality check is these companies often have more influence than some nations. And, obviously we know there's a lot of nations that have no AI at all, but that's kind of scary to think about. Why it matters is that tech companies effectively control what information people see and how they interact online. So like you could go on my YouTube, I have certain things that run across for me to watch. Obviously with the shows we do, I've got a lot of conspiracy realist stuff. I have a lot of what's going on in the world right now as far as military movement and things like that. If they didn't want me to know that, they could change the whole algorithm and I would know about the new dance fad. I would know about the new soft drinks, those silly things that maybe teenagers know or want to know. I don't know, but let's get on. Next would be global energy and food corporations. We've talked about this as well. This covers companies like, are you ready for this? Global energy and food corporations. So this covers companies like BP, Shell, Exxon, Bayer, Monsanto. A lot of these names are kind of sounding familiar with the WEF, aren't they? Cargill. Oh, here we go. BlackRock, Vanguard as investors. What they push, carbon markets and climate-friendly investments. Okay. High-tech agriculture. So again, we're going to eliminate the farmer. Basically, the machines are just going to be out there doing the work with spraying chemicals and everything else on the crops that we don't want on there. Ready? Bill Gates, one of our buddies, Bill Gates, lab-grown meat and alternative proteins. We got to eliminate the cows because they fart. Their methane gas is just destroying everything. So they want to create this lab-grown meat. Well, that allows them to put things in the meat that we don't want in our bodies. And they can already do it through vaccinating the cows and sheep and whatever we're eating. But this would make it a lot easier for them. They would tell you that they're doing it to keep you healthier and to, help save the environment. Yeah, don't give him any lab-grown meat.
Real quick, though, I know that probably about 2 weeks ago, they were talking about like Campbell's chicken noodle soup, that chicken was lab-grown or 3D printed. Has anyone since then heard of any other foods, anything new coming out? Something popped up for me on the screen earlier, and it was about a specific brand of chicken, and they said that that was a fake meat. Has anybody else heard of any others recently? Just put it in the chat if you will. And thanks, Misty. We'll be thinking of you.
Click on that one, Misty, there.
Here.
Right there, yeah. If you don't, Misty says, if you don't want to be grossed out, never read the package. 2/3 of the crap in the store says bioengineered.
It really does.
And we went on a kick here when even before we moved to Tennessee, of paying attention to what we were buying. And we were amazed at just the simplest things you would get off the shelf, protein bars and
oh yeah,
and there it is, bioengineered, ingredients. And it's, why is this all in our food? All I'm asking for is some nuts and, whatever is on a protein bar anymore. And we're not getting that stuff.
Honestly, I'm really just glad that they label it. It's hard to trust what actually, they are producing and putting in our foods, especially processed foods. But I'm thankful that it's on the label and we have the option to shop that way or not. Carmen said, I read a series set in 2060. They have lab grown food.
And it's, Carmen, it's coming to that. We're already eating it. I mean, I'm sure there's probably nations that are the guinea pigs with it as well. If it's not us. I mean, we know that Bill Gates is a big pusher in the lab grown meats. And if you take a small African nation and you can feed them with these lab grown meats, they're happy because they're getting fed, but they just don't know what's going in their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I might have mentioned earlier is a lot of these undeveloped countries are unfortunately the guinea pigs for a lot of the things going on with this, from what's in their food to implements of rules of society, those types of things. They tend to do that on the people that can't really fight back. So
I've got to put this up for Billy because Chad and I had this conversation a very long time ago, and I think that it was at Buffalo Wild Wings because I said this chicken is always cut the way that it's cut, whatever it was. It's always cut in such a specific way. It looks manufactured. There's no way around it. And Billy says, here's something to think about since you bring up lab grown meats. McDonald's sells about 6.8 million burgers a day. Where are all the cows being raised? And that's a great question.
Yeah, because we know for a long time, and if not still, they're killing cattle. They're wiping cattle out. One cow gets sick, take out the whole herd.
Yeah. And, it just breaks my heart to see the pictures of the chickens and how they're being raised, and overcrowded isn't even the term. And it's so sad. Like, I understand we're going to be eating, but
yeah, but when they're overcrowded,
that's not okay at all.
When they're overcrowded like that, disease is easier to pass through these things, and it goes through a lot faster. If you have chickens running around in a field, there's less chance for as much disease, and you wouldn't have to wipe. When you hear of them going and killing, millions of chickens in a chicken house or whatever they call those places, it's because if one catches it, they're probably all going to catch it because they're,
Right.
you've seen the pictures. They're all on top of each other.
Yes. And then they talk about how their bodies are, they're pumped with
steroids, mRNA.
And their bodies don't develop, in a proportionate or healthy way or whatever. It's just, but the treatment, that's what gets me, the bad treatment.
Yeah.
Let's see what Misty said. You think you're buying a healthy alternative and paying twice as much, and it's still going to kill you the same. They know people are getting smart and trying to be more natural, but they are spraying. That's the other part. That's why I say, it's good that they label when they do. Because I know there's so much that we are unaware of and we can't find out, about those conditions or practices. They won't reveal all of their information on how they treat and how they spray. So,
well, it's like the Amish gentleman that had all his milk taken and they killed everything he had and took all of his equipment. I can't remember his name, but it's happened to a lot of Amish farmers. They believe in doing everything naturally. And well, most of them do. I'm sure there's a few out there that don't, but you're getting good meat. You're getting good chicken. We buy from a private butcher house or whatever.
And I just put Jeff's comment up. I don't buy grocery store meat. We don't eat anymore.
We did before. You just go, oh, let's get this steak. Oh, it's, but we stopped and now we buy from some place that tells you where their cattle comes from, who raises it. They are no vaccines to their cows. I mean, they do everything, I don't know how they do it, but everything is absolutely natural. Where I have an issue with that is when we talked about, we did our show on weather manipulation and what they spray from the skies. Could that stuff land on the food for the cattle and pigs and everything? And then that gets in their body and poisons that way. And then it poisons us. I don't know. But
I've heard this too, Jeff. The majority of the beef in stores isn't U.S. beef.
Easily. Absolutely.
That's just wild.
That's the reason right now people are complaining about these tariffs that are thrown on us is we're trying to create a society where we're buying our own beef. Everything comes from inside our country. People have been tariffing our outgoing goods forever, but we haven't been throwing tariffs on incoming goods. Well, why do I want to buy meat from China when I have a farmer down the road that can make, has cattle that can create beef for us here? But it's all about money. It's all about how much you can push through the system and how much money can be made. So if you can buy cattle cheap or beef cheap in China, bring it to the U.S., jack the price up, you make more money.
Phyllis said the chicken breast at Sam's Club are bigger than turkey breast.
Yeah.
That isn't right.
I will agree with you. These are big, huge chicken breasts. Yeah. So real quick.
Patrick said those chickens work out, Phyllis.
Yeah, they are. Definitely. Which Michael X says, Jeff, aren't we importing a buttload of beef from Argentina?
Oh, wow.
And I've heard that as well.
But isn't that wild how thinking of the cost of meat being imported and that's being sold for much cheaper than the natural regional meats we can get. And in my opinion, yes, it is more expensive, but I personally would rather not eat any or make the investment, in the local beef. And as the years go by, I'm thinking more of the let food be thy medicine. I would rather invest in the food, the better foods, or what I think are the better foods, because I believe there is truth to that.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100% with that. I was going to say, was it something up there? Judy, it's mainly Brazil and Australia. Okay, so let's go back to the global energy and food corporations and things that they're trying to push. This one, Jeff will help me out here. And if anybody else is a farmer in chat, the control over seeds and fertilizers and what you can use and what you can't use and what you should use is what they'll tell you. So you should think about that as a farmer as well. And then for you people that live in the Carolinas, North Carolina specifically, when the Hurricane Helene came through and wiped out, and all of a sudden you heard about land grabs, and it's because of the high amounts of lithium. That happens to be something that these corporations are trying to get is lithium and earth mineral expansions. So they're buying up the land. Whether you live there or not, they're going to take it. A lot of that stuff in North Carolina hasn't been rebuilt. Injecting liquid phosphorus, usually a sodium phosphorus, into chicken is common industry practice called plump. Yes, I've heard of that. Thank you. Yeah. And it, again, whatever they put on the label is what we have to go by. And apparently we're supposed to have a Food and Drug Administration that's supposed to, that implements laws and what has to be put on the label. But there are sneaky ways around that. And they sometimes label it in a word that you have no idea what that word means. And people just buy it anyway. Like he just said right there, or they said, I don't know who it is, but if you had some word like, where is it? Yeah. Sodium phosphate, they put that on there. Most people don't even know what sodium phosphate is. So they just, okay, sodium phosphate. When I look at something, if there's words I don't understand on there, I like to look them up. And it started with Dawn dishwashing soap. We were using nothing but Dawn dishwashing soap until I started reading the ingredients and then Googling what the ingredients were and what they did to you. And there ain't a damn good thing about Dawn dishwashing soap. I suggest making your own soap. She makes her own soap, or we buy the I don't even know what's in them. Nothing much. Natural.
Very little ingredients.
Right.
Real quick, we had Billy asked, I may be mistaken, Jeff may know, don't any beef sold has to have certain shots just to be in the market?
That's a good question.
And then let's see.
Jeff gets to answer a lot of questions.
Gary said, Billy, the calves and cows we sell don't have shots. Billy said, my best friend is a beef farmer. He is forever complaining about what he is forced to give his cattle and not talking about the expense of the medications.
It's a shame. I mean, I was reading something about Alzheimer's today and how it didn't start until like really getting talked about until the 90s. And I can't remember exactly what it was that what they started giving us that was creating Alzheimer's disease. But it wasn't really ever talked about until the 80s and 90s. And now it seems to be a part of everyday life. We always lose somebody to not lose them, but we will eventually lose them to Alzheimer's.
Two things. Misty said, have you seen where they color the meat? People wouldn't be as attracted to the duller colors, so they add poisonous coloring. And that's a lot of why we don't buy from the grocery store, because it looks so fresh. But we've seen videos of how they do that. Then she said red dye 40 and crap like that. Yes. And then the next one, Judy, amen. That's a new hobby now, reading label.
Oh, I highly
content.
suggest it.
It really is kind of fascinating, but to me, it's empowering to know, or at least try to believe what's on the label. What is in there? Or for me, it's having that choice of buying this or that and comparing the labels. I'm all about that. I'm all about that research, and I will try to make the best decision for us.
Yeah, she's really good about that. I'm not so good. I usually read them if I go to the store. If I'll go into Walmart with her, usually we'll go out of town. Well, we have a Walmart in town, and I don't want to go there either. But we'll go to a Walmart. If I go in with her, I'll read labels with her sometimes. But she's really good about reading labels and bringing home what's best for us to eat. Okay. Sorry, Misty. We're keeping Misty busy.
I know.
I only wash my hair with borax. It feels better than any conditioner I've used.
I have heard I haven't heard that specifically, but I've heard about using borax, in personal care. And let's see. Oh, Gary said, if I read the labels, I wouldn't eat.
That's probably.
I also love cooking, and I'm all about anything that goes into or on my body, as few ingredients as possible. So really the best thing, the strongest thing in my opinion is if you're able to making as much on your own as you can from scratch, or, from the ingredients. And really, I really would prefer to bypass processed foods.
Well, it's not even, she was talking about what we put on our body. We watched a YouTube video on Temu and or
And
Shein, Temu and Shein, these clothes coming from China, that what they're made with. And, people were having a lot of allergic reactions to the clothing. And then they were looking at the chemicals that were being put in the clothing. When you can look, I used to be in the tool and die industry. My father was a die builder. He was a great die builder. And speaking of which, today was Dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. He was a phenomenal die builder. He was very well known in the oil filter manufacturing area. And we built quality dies. Somebody got a hold of our dies. Somebody from China got a hold of our dies, and they created their own dies mimicking ours, our setup, certain designs we had. And they were the biggest pieces of junk. They would literally build them on the ships on the way over. They would deliver them to people, and then they would break. And then these people would send us those parts to fix, and we would be like, no, you buy American. We're not fixing Chinese stuff. And that's one of the things is we need to focus on U.S. goods. Now, I'm going to say something that's probably controversial, but I'm a person that believes that we don't need to buy anything outside of our country. We don't need to protect other countries. If we did everything for our country, we would all be healthy. We would have a great military. Nobody could ever invade us, and our politicians couldn't be bought. But we know that's never going to happen because the global elite don't want it that way. They want to be able to control, and the best way to control is to create, these things where we have to buy from this area and they have to buy from us and blah, blah, and blah, blah. I mean, okay, I don't need to get onto that, but we're on here. Military, we're going to go to military alliances such as NATO, intelligence agencies, and defense contractors. What they push, and this is one thing that we talked about a little bit ago, is increased surveillance capabilities. I started watching a gentleman called Monkey Works. He's a former Air Force, not sure exactly, but it had to do with surveillance and stuff like that. And he was talking how they have drones in the sky that can literally, I forget how far are they up in the air, 30, 40,000 feet, maybe higher, but they can pick up a soccer ball sitting on the ground. That's how good their cameras are. And we already know they can listen through anything. So they can surveil anything they want. And that's kind of scary if you ask me. War will never be like it used to be. War is a bad thing, but it'll never be people on the battlefield. It'll be so much more than that. Another thing they're pushing for is drones and autonomous weapons. Now, that's cool if they're killing other drones and autonomous weapons, but they're going to be taking you out, and you'll never know it. You could be sitting in your home if you're a very disliked person, and you're gone. They just wipes you out, and you'll never know. That should be scary to bad guys, but it's also going to be scary to good guys. Cyber warfare infrastructure, computers, the stuff that happens with the computers and everything and all that. Biometric border control systems. That probably isn't a bad thing. I don't know. It's not something I've dove into or anything. Space-based military tech. I think that started with the Star Wars plan back under Reagan. It's cool to think about. We'd shoot lasers from the sky, but apparently we already do. Lasers, space lasers. Okay. Anyway, defense innovations awful trickle into civilian life, good or bad. And the future of war changes daily life and global power balance. And I think we're about ready to find that out more than what we are knowing, more than what media is telling us. Again, the media is part of all of this, and they're not going to tell us everything that's going on, because then we go panic. A lot of people panic and a lot of people don't. National governments. Every country has its own agenda, but common themes include managing inflation and economic instability, protecting supply chains, reindustrialization, tech dominance, and immigration reform. So these are the things that these people talk about in the global elite that they want to try to take care of. We've had to deal with immigration in our country. We still do. We're finally doing something about it. I think we need to do more about it. My opinion, again, um, I don't know what everybody's opinion is, but I think that we need to protect our people. And there's a lot of things going on that we're not protecting them from. I don't know if this is it. Oh, climate and energy transition. They're pushing for ending fossil fuels, renewable energy. They're pushing for renewable energy and electrifying transportation. We've all heard about electric cars. We've seen electric cars. You go up to Walmart and you'll see a charging station, 10 charging stations, one car. I don't think electric cars are really going to catch on. I know the last administration was really pushing it, but now we've kind of let go of I know the car companies are happy to make gas cars again because it's cheaper for them. And you as a consumer don't want to, if you buy a Tesla and you have battery issues, it's not a cheap thing to take care of. It's just not like popping out 2D batteries and, putting 2 new ones in and taking off down the road. It's very expensive to take care
Or
of.
when they spontaneously catch fire.
Or when they spontaneously catch fire. In fact, some of the cars, they tell you don't store them in your garage. So AI and automation, they want to reduce human labor. That should scare everybody. I mean, it sounds cool, but you're not making money. It's not like, unless the government says their CBDC will give each person this amount of money to spend. You mind your P's and Q's, you can spend it. But if you screw up at all, we're going to start taking some of it back or not letting you spend it at all. And boost economic output. And that's what AI would do. Yes. And robots and changing military and policing. They say AI is the next industrial revolution. And Wendell says they have you in their sights with your phone. Absolutely. Your phone, your television, your car, anything that has a computer system in it, they know what you're doing, where you're at. They have it all. You turn off on your phone. You turn off, the thing that's supposed to be able to tell where you're at. I can't remember the button.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because a satellite knows where you're at. It knows exactly where you're at. You can look on your GPS coordinates. It'll show exactly where you're at. It'll follow you. Even though you turn that off, it'll follow you around. So they know where you're at 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. If you don't do anything wrong and you don't care, that's fine and dandy. I don't do anything wrong. So I'm not really worried about it, but I am, because I don't want people knowing what the hell I do, whether it's good or bad. And nobody should.
You should be allowed the privacy.
Yes. And, I look at it as politicians nowadays. Who wants to be a politician? You have to have your foot in the door with somebody from a very young age to be a politician. Somebody that's going to groom you to be the person they want you to be. OnStar. That's a perfect example right there. OnStar. Because they're going to know everything about you, from websites you've visited to your jail record, if you've ever been to jail, to traffic ticket, to things you've said to people online and offline. Don't forget you carry around a cell phone. So all of that is going to, have a niche into you being a politician or not.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing that now. A lot of people are being busted, but I think a lot of people are being protected because I think a politician is somebody that's been bred for that job.
Oh, yeah.
Health and population strategies. They're aiming for pandemic response coordination, aging population management. We've seen what Canada does with that. If you're old and frail and you can just have them take you out. Sometimes they suggest it. It's going to be too expensive to keep you alive, so we're just going to go ahead and offer this service to you. Do you remember Dr. Kevorkian back in the day and how big they got? He was going up, helping people put themselves down if they had a debilitating injury that was going to keep, keep them bedridden or whatever. That's basically what they're doing now, but it's legal in Canada and other countries. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Erica's got some stuff over here she wants to discuss.
That's pretty much everything you've talked about, except for the locations.
Oh, yeah.
On the power moves within the world. We have the United States, who's in control of the US dollar, in control of the global finance. And they say that we lead in technology, military, and intelligence networks. And we set the regulatory trend for other nations. China controls global manufacturing, and it makes me laugh when I read that, because nearly everything you shop for, you see, especially technology made in China.
Yep.
China also is forthcoming in AI and 5G and surveillance. So that's also not surprising, being technological, and the cost, for them to produce these items. So
Excuse me.
then we have the European Union. Says they write regulations that corporations worldwide must follow. And they are the environmental and technology policy trendsetter. Then we have the BRICS nations. So BRICS being Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Yeah, there's many other countries that have joined the BRICS nation. That is to battle the United States dollar. So that's what we have to worry about. There's a lot of countries switching over. When they switch over to whatever currency that BRICS wants to use, whether it's the yen, the ruble, or whatever, that hurts the US dollar. And that affects what our money's worth and everything else.
And this description says an alternative economic bloc challenging Western influence. So well said.
Sorry.
Oh, no,
I didn't go through her notes, and she didn't go through mine.
And they are expanding into energy and currency cooperation. So that's scary too.
One of the things I highlighted this, Brian. Brian says NASCAR uses tons of computer data in race cars. It's ridiculous. Every sport has gotten to the point where computers are used, AI is used. If you watch hockey, they've got those cameras in the goals, and they can literally use AI to figure out if the puck crosses the line. If you watch soccer, same thing. All this technology, it's in every sport. It's in every aspect of our life. And NASCAR also on the road, regular road, as we're driving. And it's implementing itself. Baseball, there's talks in baseball of not having home plate umpires. Because you can call balls and strikes from the middle of the outfield with an AI system. And I think that kind of takes the fun out of the game, to be honest with you. Let me see what else. Now, if we do a really good job with new vaccines, health and reproductive services, we can lower population. I like that. I like how you did the name. Yeah, you're right. We did a show on overpopulation. Or is that what it was? Anyway, it had to do with right now we're still producing and we're still creating. But the problem is in the next 20 to 30 years, we will be a small population. We'll start dying out. When you talk about Gil Bates, I like that. You don't want to mention his name. You talk about things like that, it's going to hurt us even more. Now, I had something written down in some notes here about the Georgia Guidestones and what they said the population, what they wanted the population to be. And it's nowhere near where we are right now. It needs to be, I think it was like 50 million, if that. It was way less than we are right now. And that probably would solve a lot of world's problems. If you had less people, then you have less money to spend, and the rich get rich. And that should be scary to all of us as well. But thank you for your comment, little HW.
I also see that, my opinion is that, the foods that they're feeding us and the control that they have over that, to me, is an agenda. And it's basically a slow way for us to die, is how I feel. Because think of the American diet and the health consequences of that. I could talk all day about that. It's so interesting to me. But if you think about, you know, a lot of our diseases are caused by diet. And it's essentially killing us, because they'll give you a medication to temporarily relieve whatever's going on with your body. But that's a whole nother topic. And I'm thinking right now of a different episode that we'll do on it, because it will go together.
Michael X says, sad when a developed country decides that euthanasia is preferable in some cases instead of trying to find a treatment or a cure for a patient. Excuse me. One of the things I wrote down somewhere around here, was, and everybody's heard this before, create the disease, create the cure. So they create the disease, and then they say they create the cure, even though they never, well, we still can't cure cancer, but here's all this cancer medication you can take, which if you take that cancer medication, well, it's going to affect this. So you're going to have to take
Like
this
side effect
and this and this. And I don't know if anybody in here takes blood thinner, but I'm curious of how much medication besides the blood thinners you take, because I know a lot of people that have to take other drugs besides the blood thinners to help with the problems they're having.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just crazy to me. We know that, and we haven't done a show on big pharma yet, a true show about big pharma, but please pay attention to the medications you're taking. Misty, I know if you're still listening, you know, Misty's one of those people like my wife that we try to do things naturally. So whether it's through teas, through tinctures, through things like that, we try to do that to help ourselves. I don't want more chemicals in my body than I did growing up, things they were feeding us, or drugs. I'm not talking illegal drugs that I was taking, but just like antibiotics and stuff like that I was putting in my body. Because it's funny, when they put you on antibiotics, it's like amoxicillin. And then, well, we gave you amoxicillin this time, so this time we're going to give you this. And well, now we can go back to amoxicillin. Well, why are we because our body grows immune to it.
Yeah, and it, well, not counteracts, but it won't react to the way that an antibiotic should. So, but anyhow, that's a whole nother topic.
And Wendell, it would be really neat if we could get a list somewhere on the internet, and there's a few, but they're not complete lists, that could tell you everything that you can buy that's US made, that is not shipped to the US and then somebody throws a made in USA sticker on it. It is packaged, developed, whatever, packaged, made here in the United States of America. Mm-hmm. Again, it's all because there's money to be made,
right.
When they can pay an American a minimum wage, let's just say, I don't know what minimum wage is now, we'll say $10.75. It might still be $7 in some states. Whereas they can pay a kid in Bangladesh, $1, and that's his monthly salary.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go that route, because first of all, the money they're paying to people overseas isn't worth as much as the United States dollar. So that's the way they look at it. And Michael X says, yep, prescription drug nowadays, the side effects are about as worse as the condition they are being prescribed for. Most of the commercials they have on TV literally say,
side effects.
What's that one we always make fun of? Skyrizi, because it's such a funny name.
That's a funny
that they would name a drug that.
I don't even know.
But then when they talk about, well, side effects could be, and you're like, well, why would I take it?
Mm-hmm.
I could die from the side effects more than I could die from the actual thing I'm taking it for. But people shut off sometimes on what the side effects are. And that, the doctor is not going to go, well, I'm going to give you this medication, but you could die. Mm-hmm. Or, so that's the kind of stuff they have to worry about. Or we have to worry about, not them. Mm-hmm. Let's see, we go. Medicine worse than the problem you have, correct? Mm-hmm. Squirrel says they don't mention the gut issues, depression, etc. that antibiotics cause. I am one of those people that suffers from depression. I don't know if they'll ever figure out what actually causes depression. I don't have a reason to be sad. Some days you wake up and you're sad, unlike when you're a child and you never were sad, unless you didn't get your Christmas presents that you wanted or whatever. But, I guess I would be a little sad. No, I'm just kidding. But nowadays you just wake up and you're in a funk. You don't know why, maybe it's your job, maybe it's whatever. But I think more people suffer from depression now, and there's a reason, and it's what they're putting in our food. It's what drugs they're giving us. And that's really scary to think about. Why would they want it that way? But that's what I feel in my heart that the global elite.
Oh, that needs to go up here for sure.
Give you back this. You can have control. I feel that the global elite wants to thin the herd. Jab 3 after double dose of Moderna. My father passed when I told him not to. Father told me, "You're not a doctor."
Very sorry to hear that.
I'm very sorry to hear. That's horrible.
And I can relate because I have very close family members, and they blindly follow what the doctor says.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so passionate. I am not medically trained, but I try to trust my instincts as much as possible. And, through the studies, and research that I do, it is important to me to ask more questions in the medical field, because they are in a position where they can recommend anything. And again, some people follow blindly, and it's hard to be on the other side of that, fighting for this person, and you see things differently, but they're so set on, well, you're not that, fill in the blank. And so they're going to follow. I'm very sorry to hear about that.
I was trying to find the word for our politicians. Now, there's been a controversy, I don't know if you follow it or not, between a politician and a podcaster recently. And it had to do with this podcaster calling out this politician about a birthday party. And I'm going to get to this. So this politician was saying, if you make this much money a year, how do you afford this person at a birthday party that's $150,000 to $250,000 to just show up to your birthday party? The reason I say that is the influencers that are in our politics, that pharmacy, hey, if you vote for this bill, we'll give you a supplement of what's sold. We'll give you, blah, blah, blah money. So you look at our politicians and say a standard senator, I think it's a senator, makes $174,000 a year. But for some reason, all of these people are worth mega millions. And then they tell us how to live our lives like they're living the same life we live. They're so out of market. They're so out of touch with the way that us people live. And I think we need more people calling out politicians. We need more term limits. We need to, as a group of people, and I say this every show that's a conspiracy show, we need to, as a people, start paying attention to the stuff that's going on in our politics. A lot of people are like, I don't vote. I don't care about politics. Well, your life is affected every day by politics. And this is what we've talked about tonight is a prime example of why you need to care, because every aspect of your life, they're going to have control of. I always say we're the worker ant, and they're the ones that are looking over us, and we do everything they tell us. I don't know if our government wanted it that way in the beginning. Yeah. But that's where we are. Power is power. And too many people have extreme power. And this global elite, I've watched shows where independent news reporters go to the Bilderberg meeting in Davos, Switzerland, and they'll stand outside and question all these media techs and internet people and politicians, and ask them questions, and not a single one of them wants to answer. They won't give you an answer of what they're doing inside. What they're doing is they're shaping your and I's lives. And that we should, Brian LeGrand says term limits for sure. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. We can't keep letting these people get rich off of our tax dollars so that they can tell us what to do. That's not what politicians were about anyway. They're supposed to represent us. And none of these people in these organizations are representing us. They're representing their pocketbooks and trying to get themselves rich. You got anything else?
I was gonna
Go ahead.
I was just gonna sum it up. One of the statements on here was the reality: no single group runs the world. Instead, power comes from the intersection
Did I lose? Oh, you've got it all.
of governments, finance, tech, media, global institutions, and corporate lobbies. And it's so true. That is the combination that make our decisions on like our layout. You know, obviously we can make our own decisions for certain things, but for expectations, they're the ones in control. And when you think about the companies that we've named in this episode, it's not shocking because a lot of those company names are so familiar because they are involved in our everyday life applications and businesses that we deal with, and communication and technology, and ones that we can't ignore. These companies are a part of most Americans' everyday lives, you know, and these are parts of our lives that can be addictive or rewarding or just a necessity, you know. So it's you just see the impact of, you know, the financial and I guess why they pick who they pick, or the fact that they do support them. That's how they get so strong. You know, it's so deep, like all the information that goes into that. But these are companies we are all familiar with, I believe.
And again, you know, when you're younger, you know, when you're 10 or teens and 20s, you don't think about any of this. I wish we had some younger people in the chat that would probably listen to us and maybe start researching themselves. It's simply so much goes on. You know, when you get your first paycheck, you don't look at it, oh my gosh, this is awesome, I got a paycheck. And you're like, what is this tax? What is this tax? And you just learn to accept it. As you get older, you start questioning, why are my taxes so high? Why am I grossing this much or netting this much and grossing this much? Is that how it is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you start to question that. Then you start doing some research and finding out that your money is going to, you know, organizations to combat flea growth on the African new, you know, which is a type of oxen. But your money, you're sending money overseas, and it's not taking care of you. It's not taking care of the American people. And I think more people need to start paying attention to that. I love helping other people out. I truly do. But I want to take care of my own. And I don't mean just my wife. I want to take care of U.S. people in our country before we would ever take care of veterans, take care of people that are here in our country that have maybe fought in battle to protect our country and our rights, not take care of things overseas that have absolutely nothing to do with us. And I think more people really need to start speaking up about that. You know, you feel like I'm a small voice in a big fish, you know, whatever the saying is, a small fish in a big fish tank, whatever. But the more we speak up, the more we can make things happen. And if you need to step in and run for a political position in your town, you know, do it, try it. It won't be that easy. You heard what we said a little bit ago about being a politician. Now in a small town, that might be one thing, but it's just something has to be done. And we just wanted to bring you, and a lot of you guys are conspiracy people like us, and you pay attention. But we want the people that aren't to know what's going on around them, that the drugs you're taking, the food you're eating is being made a certain way for a reason, for them to make big money off of everything. If you really want to understand it, check out the Rockefeller Corporation from the beginnings to now, and you will completely poop your drawers on this. Literally, there's so much that went on through that whole Rockefellers, from trains to oil to pharmaceuticals to all of that. So check it out, read about it, study it. Again, we're here to put some information in you.
Mhm.
And if you're really interested and you're really concerned, do your research. You can find it. Sometimes you got to look extra hard, but you can find it. And I don't think I had anything else I needed to talk about. Just regular news. I don't believe I did. And if you're not a Second Amendment carrier, please do. Please look at buying yourself a weapon of some sorts. Women, if you don't want to carry a gun, please carry mace or something like that to protect yourself. Please, when you go to your cars, pay attention. I'll say this every show. Protect yourselves. Look out for one another.
Get the training that you're comfortable with.
We are in bad times. I can try to be as positive as I can and sugarcoat it, but we're in bad times. So please pay attention. Love each other. We thank you all for being here. You don't know how much this means to us for you guys to be here to share this information with us. If you could do us a big favor, share our show out. I know we're a very unprofessional show, but we love it that way. That's how we want to be. I don't want to sit there and I love live shows. We love to include you in our chats.
Yes.
and what you're saying so other people can do the same and learn. But hit that thumbs up, get us out in the algorithm. Maybe we'll get a few more followers and other people can learn a few things and they can help us as well. Again,
right. We're all about that.
And we learn from you as well. So other than that, we will be here next Sunday, the show before Christmas.
Yes.
I don't know what we're going to do it on. Maybe it's an Erica show. I'm going to put the pressure on her.
No, I feel driven from this show.
There we go.
Other topics that we discussed
okay. I love
came
that.
up. So, thank you, Carmen. And I wanted to say hi to Catherine and Judy. I believe Judy was newer. Rusty, I think I saw you earlier, but that could have been.
Yeah, we were Woodwalkers chat.
Woodwalkers too.
Yeah.
Then we've got Stacy. She came in. Judy. Brian, I might have mentioned you earlier. Thank you all for participating. And then Lee, I guess it's Lee HW. Thank you for coming in and watching the show.
Lily, I don't know.
L.
The L's and I's look so like.
I can't tell.
And I'm blind. So.
Lee or Lily.
Also, I wanted to mention, because my brothers would probably ridicule me a lot. Tuesday night, please tune into Old Line Cryptids. 8:15 Eastern time, 7:15 Central time. We will have a guest of Thomas Seawind. So join in. We'll do some cryptid talk. Other than that, I think that's about it for us. Time for us to eat some din.
Yes,
and
yes.
We again appreciate you being here. Like, subscribe, and we'll hopefully see you all next Sunday.
Yep.
And I'll have my hair a little different next time for y'all.
You should part it on the other side.
Here. Okay. Anyway, we love you guys. Take care.
Love you guys.
And we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.
Yep.